I'm a historian, so I'm going to give you a little excerpt, some excerpts from my grandmother's trunk when she went off to college in 1903 to Lewisburg Seminary in Lewisburg, and received letters from her first cousin Margaret, who was at Hollins. So I think that's kind of fun for this context. And she also received a letter from her father, and she had a suitor. So it's kind of fun to understand her life at 17 heading off to college. Margaret wrote about sports and about being homesick. I wonder what you are doing with your dear old self today. Do you play basketball? I don't think I shall. It looks so rough. Aren't you crazy to go home to the fair? Do you really see how they can have it without us? Saturday is Tinker Day. I have written to Father to let me come home and go to the fair instead of climbing Tinker, but don't expect he will. I generally take a homesick spell the first thing in the morning. And here's a letter from her father. I'm as blue as indigo. The weather is cold and dry, and I have neither grass nor water for sheep and cattle, and they have eaten up everything on the place. The branch in the hollow that is at this time of year large enough to turn a mile is so low that it is all absorbed by the thirsty ground before it reaches my field. I am getting along fairly well with my farming operations. We'll finish harrowing my corn land today, but will not plant till the ground thawing. I have built 200 rods of woven wire fence, a part of it between the Miller place and myself. I would send you a little check with this, but we'll have to wait anyhow 2 weeks to get over the ill effects of $108. Be real good and sweet girl, and I won't forget you when you get very hard up. Andrew Lewis Ingalls. Dad, affectionately Dad, of course is how he signed it. Now, she had letters from the Reverend L.W. Irwin, who was the Presbyterian pastor of the church there in Radford, which is where Miss Kidd was from. So one of the letters said, "So, you are still wanting to be a trained nurse?" Well, you know, I dote on trained nurses. They are my special fancy. And I think you would, if you will pardon the slang, make a very fetching one. It would be more proper, as well as more appropriate, to say fascinating. So, if you should persist in becoming one, I shall not like you the less for it. And if I get sick, she'll call on you to nurse me. But in all seriousness, this time, I must say, you will find it hard. But you would not be scared by that. And also sometimes very disagreeable and trying. I thoroughly believe in trained nurses, and when I am sick, I want one, but somehow I have great reluctance to see anyone I care for enter the profession. 6 months later, another letter from her pastor. And he says, I want to ask you to do something for me. It may be asking a great deal, and I shall not insist on it if you do not want to do it. It is this, that you do not dance while in Lexington. Now you will think that someone put me up to this, but it is not the case. It comes from me alone, and no one knows or will know about it from me, no matter what you do about it. But I assure you that it is not because I would not have you enjoy yourself just as much as possible. I will not give my reasons for it now, but ask it as your friend and pastor, and I want you to do just as you would do were you going to any other place that is your home, and you need not reply to this request unless you want to. And surprise, surprise, this is the last letter from the Reverend Irwin in her box of letters. And surprise, surprise, she went off and became a nurse. And she married another guy who wrote her letters in that time too. So that's my comment.